Hey guys, how is everybody doing? Welcome to the third installment of my Facebook Live. I think I'm on three, pretty sure. My name is Lindsay and I'm the owner of Lucky Bird Photography. You can catch me also on a podcast that I am a part of. It's called Your I Do Crew with a few other Toledo area wedding vendors, and that is every Wednesday that we try and post that podcast as well. So I'm gonna wait like a minute or so before I get into today's topic, which is how to greet guests on the wedding day. I always get asked the best way to go about greeting guests and something that doesn't take up like too much of everyone's time and leaves time for photos without everybody feeling like they're cheated. So I'm gonna offer some tips. So I'm just gonna wait a few seconds or so just to see if people are going to tune in a little bit late here. But yeah, hope you guys are all having a good day. Can't wait to tell you some more fun tips here. All right, let's see. I'll wait just a moment again, and then I'll get started. Okay, got some viewers tuning in. Awesome. Hey guys. Okay. All right. Hopefully everybody's ready. As I mentioned, my name's Lindsay, and I'm the owner of Lucky Bird Photography. I'm a wedding photographer based out of the Toledo, Ohio area. Today I'm going to talk about a few ways that you can greet your guests on the wedding day. I always get asked that question when it comes to a bride, when I'm helping them with their timeline. They're like, how should I do it? I want to see everybody, I want to talk to everybody, but I also want to make sure that I get, as many photos as I can. So yeah, always a popular topic for me. So yeah, let's get started, and be sure to tag a bride if you know somebody that has these kinds of questions. Give me some love or share a post. Share this post with anybody you know who may need it. All right, let's get started, guys. All right, so the most popular way, and I guess the one that everybody kind of always knows is like a traditional receiving line. That's the first way that you can kind of greet guests on your wedding day. And like I said, it's like the one that people kind of, they know and they understand it more than some of the other ones that I talk about whenever I refer to it. So usually they don't know it by the name receiving line, but once what I always explain to people is, you'll say your I do's, you'll kiss, you'll walk to the back of the church, or, if you're not in a church, you'll kind of walk to the back, past where all the chairs are, and then the guests will, kind of exit and come to you. And, everybody always kind of chit-chats a little bit. There's hugs, and it's something that we're kind of seeing a shift away from more, because I feel like when a couple has like a shorter amount of time in between the ceremony and reception, just with how long a receiving line can take, depending on how many guests you have, I always tell people, like, it takes about like 30 to 45 minutes, and if you have like a huge wedding, it can take upwards of an hour, just depending on how fast everything's going, and who's talking to you and how quickly they're kind of working on getting through the line, and on all of that. So that's the most popular one, is just like a traditional receiving line, and it has some pros. Like, it can be a good photo opportunity. You can have your loved ones like turn and face us, and we'll snap a photo of you both together. But I always tell people too, and it's nice too because you can see everybody at the same time. So you just you greet everybody. Then you don't have to worry about it later in the day, like during the reception or at any other point. But I always tell people, like, unless you have a large gap, at least probably 2 to 3 hours in between the ceremony and the reception, or if you do something like a first look or something prior to that, it's not usually something that I recommend because I just feel like there's other options for you guys. So yeah, first one, traditional receiving line. Like I said, we're not seeing as much of it, but it's the one that everybody kind of knows. So yeah, that's always a good one. Okay, so the next one is still, it's like a modified receiving line. That's, I don't know how to explain this one. This one is, okay, so you kiss, same thing. You kiss, and instead of walking to the back of the church, you actually can kind of greet guests row by row. So everybody just kind of stays seated, and you don't have like a big exit where you walk to the back. It's more so, you would just start kind of with immediate family and just have all of those hugs and all of the same moments, but it's taking place more in the front of the church, and then you're kind of moving to the back as the guests are kind of dismissed. So I like this way because it still gives you those memories, and it gives you a receiving line, but it doesn't take up as much time. For some reason, I feel like when guests are, they're not doing it like on their own terms, like you're not in the back and they're coming to you, it's like you're coming to them. And because there's such a line with the pew and they have to exit the church, for some reason I feel like that one goes faster. So that's usually what I suggest to people if they want to do a receiving line, but maybe they don't have a ton of time in between, but that's just the time that they want to do it, is do something like that where you just dismiss row by row. It always goes quicker. I just feel like everybody feels obligated to keep the line moving, and you still get to say hi to everybody. So that can be like a good compromise. Sometimes parents really want you to do the receiving line, but it's just sped up. It's just a little bit faster. So that's like a modified way. Like I said, it's kind of like row by row, but it's still a receiving line. So that's the second way. So yeah, the first way is the traditional one. Second way is kind of row by row, you're greeting them. So we're halfway there on the 4 different ways that I have. I'm sure that there's more, but these are the most common ones that we see. So before I continue with the last 2, does anybody have any questions for me about the first 2? If you do, let me know. We'll see if anybody does. I know I'm on a little bit of a delay. All right, I'm not seeing any questions. No problem. That's good. Yay. Awesome. Okay. So another one that people know, if they don't want to do a receiving line, a thing that I hear also is, people say, well, when should I greet them? And I always say, eat your dinner, basically get introduced, eat dinner, and then after dinner, there's usually a period of time, since the bride and the groom, you guys eat first. It's just one of those things where since you're eating first, by the time that you are finished eating, there might either, depending on how big your wedding is, there might still be people that are being served, or there might be, everybody's kind of finishing up a little bit, and there's like a little bit of downtime if, you have a buffet and they have to tear it down, or, just to give everybody a chance to eat before kind of everything happens. So yeah, sometimes it's just easier to do that, to walk table by table after you're finished and say hi to everybody. Some people are against this because they feel like if their guests are still eating, they don't want to take away from, the time that their guests are eating. But it is a great way to say hi. I feel like you can, if you're really worried about it, you can always avoid those tables and then go back later. And it lets you say hi kind of before all the dancing and everything happens. So then that way you're still getting that opportunity to thank all your guests and, see them. So that's always a fun one. that's one too, if we can. We'll walk around with you. Sometimes during that point in the day, we are taking like ring photos. If there's a little bit of downtime, we'll grab the bride and the groom's rings and we'll grab our ring shots during that before like the dances and everything happens. But if there's an opportunity, we can always follow you around and grab pictures with those people as well. We've done that before, and that's a nice way to have photos with everybody too. So yeah. So that's the third one. And then the fourth one, this is something newer that we're seeing. It's not as common, but we're seeing more of it happen, is I always tell people, if none of those sound ideal to you, something that you can do, especially if you have more time kind of built into your timeline, or if you want us to help you kind of put that time in there before things are really established, you can be present for your cocktail hour, and you can, sometimes people come in for like the last half, sometimes people just come in for like 15 minutes. We've actually had a couple couples that were there the whole time, just the way like they did a first look and they got all their photos, even their family formals done out of the way, and then that way they just went to cocktail hour and enjoyed it with their guests, and that was really cool too. I thought that was really unique. So yeah, that's something that you can do is build it into your timeline where you can be present for cocktail hour, relax, have a drink, talk to everybody in like a more relaxed environment. So that's always really fun. And like I said, we can help you build that into your timeline, and it lets us get photos of your guests. And if it's happening in a separate area from like your reception, like if it's warmer out, especially around here, if it's spring or summer, or maybe early fall, and it's warmer, and it's in like a patio or a separate area or separate room or whatever it is, it also can let us grab some photos of your like reception decor and everything before your guests go in there. So that's always a huge bonus, because I know not every venue has, especially in Toledo, not every venue has like a separate space. They're kind of all mixed together for the cocktail hour and the reception. But that can allow us to grab those cocktail photos of you guys and then get some of those reception spaces too. So that's always a good one. I really like that one if we can build it in. Like I said, it's not for everybody. It usually works out the best if you do the first look, and then, we get all of the portraits of the two of you, or most of them, done at that point, most of the bridal party, and then most of the family. That's kind of when it works the best, just because you can go straight from the ceremony, basically, to that cocktail hour. And then, yeah, you just get to party at that point and relax and hang out. So that's always a good option too. So yeah, those are my 4 ways that you can greet your guests on the wedding day. So to recap, traditional receiving line, that's where you guys kiss and then you walk to the back of the church or whatever it may be where the chairs are, and guests come to you. There's the kind of modified receiving line. That one is where same thing. You kiss. Instead of walking to the back, you kind of just dismiss people row by row. That's a little bit quicker. Takes a little less time. It's definitely the one I recommend of the 2 if we have to do one of them. And the third one is to kind of follow everybody around after dinner, kind of go table to table and greet everybody then and thank them. And the 4th one is if we can build it in your timeline to be present for cocktail hour and spend it with your guests and have a drink and hang out and, I don't know, have all your guests come to you in more of a laid back environment. And it's pretty fun. So that's the 4 ways. Does anybody have any questions for me, or for those that did get married or are getting married and kind of have that part figured out? How did you greet your guests, or how are you going to greet your guests? Because I would love to hear, all the trends and what's popular and what used to be more popular. I know, things have always kind of changed and evolved, and it's always fun to see the industry changing. So yeah, be sure to comment on here, or if you don't catch this live, drop it in the comments below. And I actually have, I'm going to drop a comment below too once I get off of here. I have a blog post if you want to read any more about this. I'll link to that blog post in the comments so you guys can review everything and look it over. So yeah, I'm excited you guys tuned in. Awesome. I'm not seeing any questions yet. You guys are quiet tonight. Nothing. Nobody has any comments. That's cool. That's totally fine. Like I said, if you're not catching this live, drop a comment below and I'll be happy to answer it, or feel free, email me, message me, whatever works for you. And I'd be happy to answer that for you. All right, like I said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Stay tuned for next week. I will be back again at 8:30, and I will talk to you guys soon. All right, thanks so much. Bye.